Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Alliance Live Show 106. So, we're ready to rock and roll. I've got a lot of stuff to talk about. Not a lot of stuff going on in the game, but I want to talk a little bit about what might be coming here in the future. But before we get into that, I do want to introduce the co-hosts of the show. First and foremost, my compadre, good old Maurice. How you doing, buddy?
What's going on, guys? How's everyone doing?
Good. How was your weekend?
Pretty good. Pretty good. Mellow. Nice and relaxing.
Yeah, it's getting that time, you know. Summer's going to be over in a few weeks, and it's back to fall, and then we're getting into Skywalker time. We're getting into Star Wars time. So we'll talk about that in a little bit here. But next, I want to introduce Avinash. We have Abby here. How you doing, Abby?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Excellent. Glad to have you. And then we're also joined by the host of the Reality Skewed Gamers live show on Wednesday nights, RangerJ1999. How you doing, bud?
Glad to be here.
Excellent. So we've got the full boat tonight, guys. We're going to go ahead and take some questions here a little bit later on in the stream as usual. But first and foremost, I want to talk a little bit about the Padme event. So I know that a few of us that were kind of, you know, either only able to get her to 5 or 6 stars or just weren't able to get her at all, probably, you know, we're there this time now that we've had all this focus on Separatist characters over the last couple of months. So, you know, a lot more people were prepared for the Padme event this time. I know, good old Maurice, you already got her 7-star last time, right?
Yes.
What about you, Ranger? You got her this time?
Oh yeah, I finally enacted my revenge against CG and all these stupid ass events where I set the revive to 8 hours a session trying to unlock these things, and went in there with Grievous, came out with Grievous and my 7-star Padme.
Congratulations, man.
Congratulations. I mean, did you actually...
It was so sweet.
Did you have the gear for her right away, or is she just like kind of...
Oh yeah, she's gear 12. I'm working on getting her gear 12 plus, but I mean, that's all my characters now. I'm trying to get to 13. It's like, oh Lord. But yeah, I had the immediate gear to get her to 12.
So how easy was it with the Grievous?
It was like cake, man. I mean, it was like 2 AoEs from Grievous and it was over. You know, I mean, I think I lost 2 characters from Anakin, and I'm like, oh, you've made Grievous angry. Angry, stomp, kill all you, win. It was beautiful. I was so happy. I enjoyed it. I just sat there with 2 health Kenobi sitting there bleeding to death on the ground and just savored the moment, and then I finally put him out of his misery.
So, Abby, you actually had her 7-star last time too, right?
I did on one account, and then the rest of them were like either 5 or 6 star. So I finished that off, and it was just, it only took one time to be able to do it. And I'm like, man, and it was, I think it was a real good combination of a particular team, because I had, on 2 of the accounts, I had like no Omegas. The gear, matter of fact, like Sunfac was gear 9. And the other ones were pretty much gear 11, a couple of gear 12s, only like 1 or 2 Zetas, like 1 Zeta on Grievous, no Zetas on Newt, or the rest of the team, and I was able to do it really quick, and I was very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I think that I was able to get her 7 stars myself this time. I ended up going in with the Geonosians because I did have... Brood Alpha done. So yeah, I mean, I was able to get her pretty easily. I mean, I did lose the first round, but I after going in and just attacking it a little bit differently, it was the first time I'd ever used the Geonosian team, period. So, I mean, just getting used to using the Brute and like how to use the team a little bit, it was a lot easier the second round. I mean, you know, all these events are a little bit tied to RNG, but overall, I mean, I think that I'm kind of glad. I expressed this on the last live stream, but I'm kind of glad that I waited on this character. I mean, sometimes, you know, it's definitely worth, well, at least for me, I feel like, you know, to me it's more worth going after a character and maybe making an investment towards the character when the character is going to be like meta defining or meta changing, or I feel like they're going to be very important or necessary for something for my guild, etc. So I feel like, going after characters like Malik and going after characters like Revan make a ton of sense. Padme, I had a feeling when she dropped, was kind of going to be like a character that we'll need eventually. I definitely think she's going to be required for the light side GOTB whenever that drops, but I didn't think that she was going to be necessary for Arena, and I was okay with trying to skate by in TW and GA for a couple of months until the event returned. Unfortunately, it came back relatively quick. I mean, we have no word on when the Malik event is coming back, right?
Soon, TM.
Well, they said that they just did a Q&A last week. They did say that it's soon, just no specific date. So hopefully very, very soon.
Remon?
Yo.
Why?
What?
Why is there a speed set on Padme and then two? I'm going to kill you.
I just equipped like any mods that
I swear, I think you do this on purpose. I'm actually convinced you do this on purpose because I'm going to look at your screen and I'm going to see this and it's going to drive me absolutely up the wall.
I literally.
Well, if you equip 2 offense mods, you get half the bonus, right?
Oh my god!
Honestly, looking at that, I really don't know why I would have done that.
Words are hard at the moment.
There must be a reason. Maybe it's the speed on the mods.
I mean, words are really, really hard for me.
In defense, they're all 5 dots.
Bear in mind,
they are 5 dots. I mean, we have to take the positives.
Bear in mind, they were all 5 dot, and yes, I this is also a Gear 9 character that I do not use. Okay, so I mean, like,
Padme's a Gear 9 character you don't use. I
also don't remod. Okay, like I said, I have characters that are modded from 3 years ago. Like for example, like B2 over here. He's still got a speed set on him. I mean, from
Maurice,
from when I
I had people when I was remodding BCM Live this last week actually writing chat, if we can come up with the money for remod, will you remod his account, please? God, Jesus, baby, please.
Really?
Yeah. That's how. Well, no, you're modding. That is.
But it's you know what it is. It's not like lack of knowledge. Like I don't know. It's not like I don't know what mods do. Okay, it's just that the fact is that it's really the effort. And as far as this mod set goes, let's take a look. I mean, what does she got? She's got 9 speed on this set, and she's got 10 speed on that. So I'll probably just slap 2 mods on her, just to as placeholders, because I needed. I needed to get, my mod capacity is always at max levels. So, I mean, if I mod a character and just get rid of some mods, then I'm able to accept other mods. So sometimes I just slap some mods on a character so I can pick up the mods I got from an event or something like that, because you get free, you get mods in your inventory when you're at max level. So I'll just, so sometimes I do stuff like that. But, this is not the final modding here.
Yeah, as I said, anytime, if you're, well, I've seen some of your other characters, so I'm worried that it might be.
Maybe it is. Maybe it is.
As I said, my services are always available.
But kind of shifting the conversation here to the upcoming film, I wanted to talk a little bit about the Rise of Skywalker and what we can possibly expect from that. So, really, typically when a movie comes out, or we're in a year of a saga film, or any film, really. I mean, when Rogue One came out in December, we started to see characters from those movies, Bodhi, Scarif, Rebel Pathfinder, characters from the movies a few months in advance. Usually they pick some generic characters, or they'll release characters like Rose Tico or Emlyn Holdo, like characters that are side characters. They're not going to release like the new version of Kylo Ren or the new version of Rey or anything like that now. That'll be like right when the movie comes out, if not the day the movie comes out. But what we do get in advance is typically some characters, and they start to come around, September, October, a couple months before the movie drops. Now, we've already seen that there are a few, shots from the set, and there's some promotional materials that have advertised certain characters that are going to be in the movie. So we know already from the trailer and from Star Wars Celebration that Emperor Palpatine is going to return for this movie. So I'm assuming that we're going to get probably some alternate version of Emperor Palpatine. If there is any form of Emperor Palpatine in this movie, physically in the movie, and they don't create an alternate, like another Palpatine in the game for that character, I'll be super upset. Super upset.
Well, it depends on what his role in the movie.
Even if he's like, even if it's like Spirit
Disney,
Palpatine.
Marvel, Star Wars, they're known for misdirects.
Yeah.
We talk about, certain things that are in films. How many times have we seen scenes from trailers that were like, "You sneaky bastards." I was like, wait a minute, I didn't see any of the trailer in the movie. Well, what the hell? So, and they've done misdirects before, like, having, like, for instance, a great example is recently, the Avengers, and the last two Avengers movie, the first one, the Infinity War, shows, Hulk in Wakanda, and then when you get to the actual movie, he's nowhere to be seen. You're like, wait a minute, I know for the trailer there was a Hulk. Where's the damn Hulk? You bastards. So, the only stuff that I can go from is Vanity Fair. Anything I saw in Vanity Fair, I know is in the movie, right? Because they're very particular about that. Trailers, I don't put too much emphasis on, but the Vanity Fair stuff, with some of the characters and things of that nature, I expect to see, right? The one I'm excited to see is, and it just slipped my mind, the Knights of Ren. I would love to see those guys come to the game as a faction of their own with Kylo. I think that would be great. I don't care about the rest of the First Order stuff. If they did like a new Kylo Ren with the Knights of Ren, I'd be like, yeah, please, just here you go. Here's my money.
I mean, that would be really cool. The Knights of Ren would be awesome. That's definitely one of the characters that have been confirmed already, or some of the characters have been confirmed already. And there's like 4 separate characters there. So, I mean, they could easily start releasing the Knights of Ren soon. They definitely also have the new Sith troopers that are going to be kind of like, we're thinking like the 501st for Vader. Kylo's going to have his own commission of Sith troopers. So they'll be like the higher tiers, trooper guards for the First Order. I mean, if it's still going to be called the First Order in this movie, I don't know. I mean, maybe I find it weird that they're called Sith troopers, right? Like, why would Kylo call them Sith troopers? I mean, is that you think like a hint that maybe Kylo might actually take the Sith tag as like him for himself? I mean, do you think he might turn himself into a Sith?
I don't know. I mean, he could declare himself Sith. There's precedent for that. In the EU canon books, the character, I know he's been Solo, but in the books it was actually Jason Solo that actually did that thing. Former Jedi declares himself Lord of the Sith. I mean, that's throughout the whole arc of a lot of the story that you see throughout a lot of the series. Fallen Jedi, they turn to become the new Lords of the Sith, whether it's Exar Kun or Revan or Jason Solo. There's many examples of that, so it wouldn't surprise me. But I don't know what they're going to do. Why they'd have Sith troopers? It's a good question, because Kylo's not a Sith. I mean, unless they go back and explain how he becomes one.
Maybe Palpatine has something to do with that.
Could be.
Maybe Palpatine gets a hold of him. Maybe he's trying to talk to his dad, and somehow, like, he stumbles upon, like, that piece that's left of the Death Star, and maybe there's like some like Sith holocron of Palpatine, and maybe that's how Ian McDiarmid comes back to the movie. Maybe he's not like physically in the movie. Maybe he's just like there as a holocron image, like teaching Kylo from the holocron.
Well, I don't know if it'll be a holocron. I don't know if Palpatine. Nothing I know of.
We've never seen a holocron in a film before, right?
No, not in the film. But I think one thing that people have asked me about with Palpatine is like, well, how could he be tied to the Death Star? But the Death Star was destroyed, and I had to explain to that Sith, unlike Jedi could go around in spiritual form, interact with their surroundings, things of that nature. Sith cannot. Sith are usually tied to like a hologram or a sarcophagus or a place of where they died. If they are strong enough in the dark side, they can exist as a spirit, but they're tied to an object. Like they can't go past that. Like Exar Kun and Yavin 4, he could never leave the temple because that's where he was tied to. Or Darth Bane in the Clone Wars was an example of that, where Yoda visits his sarcophagus. Yeah, he has a spirit, but he cannot transcend that, and that's where usually you find, besides holocrons, you find a lot of people that are chasing the dark side, especially on Morban or Korriban, however you want to say it, would visit the ancient Sith sarcophagus looking for a sign to learn from the former Sith lords, anything that they get their hands on, so they would visit there. And they had to be careful because Sith lords can possess bodies, they can do all kinds of stuff. So it would surprise me if the Death Star had or contained the spirit of Palpatine, that he was tied with his death the way it transpired that way, but I don't know. Holocron, I don't think Palpatine didn't care about making a holocron. He was infatuated with actually finding holocrons. He found pretty much a ton of them in Sith artifacts. So I don't know. It'll be interesting to see how they do it.
Well, I mean, that would be an interesting way to also kind of explain a little bit about how much. I don't think people really know like how much of a student of the Sith that Palpatine actually is. Because they don't really explain that in the movies. You don't really see him like studying anything. But Palpatine is like Palpatine's probably one of the strongest Sith ever. Because if not because I mean at the end of the day, he studied like every Sith going back to like.
Well, he was a culmination. Yeah, he was a culmination of 1,000 years of Sith teaching and learning and plotting and development. And people, if you go back and watch Clone Wars and Rebels, you see, especially when it came to Sith sorcery and things of that nature, Palpatine was the master. He had basically mastered all that stuff, and also their philosophy of staying in the shadows and growing in power and building their power base and waiting for that right moment to strike. And Palpatine was that perfect candidate that finally took everything that had been culminated over that 1,000 years and made his move. And waited for just the right time, and it was the perfect time. The Republic was on the decline and corruption and stuff, and that's when he made his move. I
mean, he was. I don't think that, and nobody's ever been as successful as a Sith as Palpatine has.
No, I think Vitiate was more.
Vitiate's not canon anymore.
He's not, but I mean, the line drawn between is. Eventually, the Old Republic. Dave Filoni's going to find a way. He loves the Old Republic, and he's going to find a way to make it canon. Certain character stuff. But I mean, just Sith, whether they're EU or canon. Vitiate blows Palpatine out of the water. Vitiate could do stuff Palpatine could never do yet. But I mean, Vitiate had a knowledge of the dark side. He was actually proclaimed, but I can't remember the guy's name. I'm going blank, but that he would become the most powerful Sith ever, and he proved it. I mean,
Marco Ragnos.
Yes, thank you. Because he was the one that he kind of studied under, and he could see the potential of Vitiate, and Vitiate proved it.
Yeah, I mean, Vitiate also is the only Sith I can think of that actually was able to actually fully take over another body after his death. I mean, he actually became a different person. He became Valkorian, and then, so he was able to transfer his essence into another person. I can't think of any other example of that besides him. But,
yeah.
So, I mean, he could, if they brought him into, if they brought, like, something that he did into canon, then, then that would kind of make it feasible for something like Palpatine to come back physically at some point. But
could be.
I mean, listen.
Maybe, yeah. I mean, well, we just have to wait and see, and we're not really going to know that until the action movie comes out of what direction they went. So,
I think we're going to get Sith troopers in the game. I think that's going to happen.
Of course.
But that's the thing. I mean, like, if you get a Sith, so we're going to get Sith troopers, and their faction tag is going to be First Order. You know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
That's kind of, I don't know. You know, just so yeah. I mean, and also, I mean, like the Knights of Ren, are they First Order? You know, I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming that they're going to be a separate entity from the First Order. They probably work with Kylo Ren, but have nothing to do with the First Order. You know what I mean? So I'm assuming that at some point, it looks like in the trailer, if you look closely, like he's actually fighting his First Order mates at some point later in the film. Like, you know, I don't know, but there's a clip where he's like slamming somebody on the ground with his lightsaber. And that guy he's slamming on the ground is one of the members of the Knights of Ren. So, or at least it looks like it. So, it could be possible that there's, you know, maybe they turn on Kylo at some point. You know, maybe he becomes a Sith. I mean, I don't know. There's too many variables. I mean, obviously we're just kind of spitballing here, but I mean, the reason I'm bringing this up is, I mean, how near do you think we are to the point where they actually start promoting this movie in the game? How like when do you think we'll get our first character from the Rise of Skywalker in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes? I mean, you think it'll be in like a month? You think they're just going to be too busy with this GOTV stuff for the next couple of months, so we're not going to see anything? You know, what are your guys' thoughts? What do you think, Maurice?
Didn't they kind of release Biston and Scarecrow and Pathfinder right as they released the trailer for the Rogue One movie?
Yeah, if you remember, we had that event for Scarecrow Pathfinder where every day you get one shard, remember? And it was like
Biston was iOS, Pathfinder was like Android or something like that. Like one of us got one, yes. The other one didn't.
Yes.
So I think as soon as some official trailers released, I think we might be able to see a character or two. They released Kylo Ren Unmasked, Rose Tico, Holdo, First Order Execution. They released them before the movie was released, I believe, into the game, or at least a few of them, because they're all marquees. So I mean that's a possibility. You know, if you have First Order, if you have Resistance, or at least a few characters, I wouldn't develop any sort of supporting cast for either of those factions right now. Just kind of, if you got your crews and you got your, Executioner or Phasma, whatever you have, maybe you got just a couple pilots like Poe and Finn and Jedi Training Ray, I would just sit on them and wait to see what we get, because inevitably if something new comes out, especially as long as it's been since we've gotten anything for those factions, they're going to be far superior to anything we already have. So there's no point in, I don't think, gearing up First Order Officer or, even First Order Stormtrooper. I wouldn't level any of those characters up right now until we see what's coming.
Well, this is my thought process, too. I mean, if you remember, the last time we had a saga film, Rey Jedi Training's Legendary event came out like the next week. Mm-hmm. Right? So we had, literally 6 days to prepare for a Legendary event for a character. So my thought process is that maybe they, they're definitely going to have a new version of Rey and a new version of Kylo, and
right.
Rey's already had a Hero's Journey event, so they're going to do another Hero's Journey event probably for Rey at some point. And I have to think that if this is the final movie that Rey is in, because she has said already in interviews that this is the last movie that she's contracted to do with Star Wars, and she's probably going to be done after this. Will we get that Hero's Journey, or will we get another event for Rey when, right as the movie comes, and maybe what would we need to be prepared for that? I mean, do you think Rey Jedi Training and Rey Scavenger would both be required for something like that? I mean, do you think it would be Resistance?
No, it would be, your mainstay characters. You'd need JTR, BB-8, Finn, Poe, I think would be the 4. I don't know who they would add as a 5th. Maybe throw in a marquee character that you would eventually need for something like that. I don't know what they'll do, but usually Heroes' Journeys are pretty easy to do. It's just getting the characters are star level, but the actual event itself has always been easy. They could change that because they've been making these things a lot more difficult here lately. So,
well, this is what I'm thinking. Okay, maybe for those of us that have completely neglected Rose Tico, I think that they could just throw you a curveball and say, "Hey, you need a Gear 12 Rose Tico, 2 weeks, bang." You know what I'm saying? Like, and
Right.
that would be kind of like a.
That'd be awful.
That'd be awful. You know what I mean? And they're going to probably have, it's going to be, there's going to be a couple of characters that are already in the game. So, possibly Rey Jedi Training, BB-8, maybe Finn, maybe Rose, Tico, maybe any of those characters. But then there's going to be, a veteran smuggler Han and a veteran smuggler Chewie for this event too. There's going to be 2 characters that come into the game that are new just for the movie that are going to be required for the event that comes out, like right as the movie comes out. So, the reason I'm mentioning this is because I'm saying start to think, like, whenever these characters do drop, like, maybe, it's not going to be today, but, maybe 2 months from now, maybe 6 weeks from now, we're in that zone now. Whenever these characters drop, I think that those characters are going to be important for possibly something down the road. I think that if you get a character that's like either a generic Resistance character or, let's say, a new character that's going to be, a part of the movie that's a part of the Resistance, I think that those characters will they're probably going to tell you that they need to have those characters 7-star to get, the next version of Rey. Because there is already, if you see from the photos, there's a Jedi version of Rey in the movie. Like, she has, full Jedi robes on. She's got Luke's lightsaber. She's a full-on Jedi in this movie. So there's going to be Jedi Rey, in this movie. Not like Rey Jedi Training. She's going to have her Jedi tag. So, I mean, yeah. And I think that'll be pretty important because, there's a lot of good Jedi in the game right now. So having an OP Rey could trump the whole Revan thing that's going on right now. If you have maybe Rey, a Jedi version of Rey on your Jedi Revan team, that could be a sick team. I don't know.
Have to wait and see.
But anyway, yeah, we'll have to wait and see. We're obviously not. We're not really close to December, so I'm sure we'll hear some information in the coming weeks. I'm sure they're going to release GOTB first, the light side, and we'll get all that. Maybe even the Malevolence first, and some other ships. But I do think that the next character dump that we're going to get, the next bunch of characters, are going to be kind of geared towards that. They may rework the clones and do these things that they're talking about in the Road Ahead blog. But I think the next Road Ahead blog is going to be all about Episode 9 and getting through the movie and just, the releases for the characters for that movie and the events that come out for that movie. And I would almost bet every nickel that I'm going to make this year that there's going to be another Rey Hero's Journey event for her Jedi version. So, be prepared for that.
Oh, yeah. We know that the next quarter is going to be live side GOTB. The quarter after that's going to be the movie. So, prepare yourself.
But, yeah, like I said, we could sit here and speculate for hours. Will there be upper torso Palpatine in the movie, or will there be Force Ghost Luke Skywalker? There's going to be Force Ghosts in this game at some point, guys. It's going to happen, okay? There's a Night Sister spirit. It's going to happen, all right? So just get ready. At some point, you're going to see Force Ghost Yoda, Force Ghost Obi-Wan, Force Ghost Qui-Gon Jinn, Force Ghost Luke. It's happening. And maybe a spirit Palpatine. We'll see. Anyway, I want to move on to the top 5 and the meta. And, the meta is going to be a quick thing here. Again, there's really not much difference here. 4 Mother Talzins at rank 1, guys. You guys rock. We do have some shifting here with the, IG-88 seems to be getting more and more use. HK-47. But we're seeing a lot of IG-88 is the number 3 leader in the arena. Ahead of Padme.
Yeah.
That's
my reason.
Is the IG-88 team better than the Padme team? Is that is this like a thing for TW and GA?
Well, it's a better arena team.
Yeah. Especially on offense.
IG-88 is, if you're just looking to kill Darth Revan in one shot, it's probably your best bet. but it's 9 times out of 10 you're left with Grievous and maybe if you're lucky, one more character. So it's not very efficient for banners in both TW but of course that's for the higher end guild. If your guild's just trying to get down Darth Revan's, this is a great team. But you're gonna get 16, 17 banners in TW, and then maybe 51 to 54ish in Grand Arena. But you're one-shotting Revan, so yes, I'm being a snob. Yes, yes, it's very, very good.
Yeah, and for those that just don't have the mod speed to run, even if they have Darth Revan, to counter Darth Revan, to be able to beat it, it's a pretty effective team to use. So it doesn't shock me to see those kind of teams existing on the board. And Padme can kill them too. So I mean, they're both really good if you know what you're doing with them. So that's why they're getting a little bit more love than some other teams out there.
Well, a lot of people have their 7-star Padmes now, so I bet
that's going to have an impact.
Here, IG88 is the far superior lead, I think, to HK47 for that type of setup. And plus, you're pulling HK47 away from your Sith Empire team, so I think it'll be a pretty clear 1, 2, 3, 4 next week. IG88 and Padme will grow a little bit. The two of them probably take up 500 or so. The two of them may equal, if not be more than Jedi Knight Revan, which is odd, but IG88 trumps Jedi Knight Revan in the meta. That's what a day. what a day.
That'll happen.
Yeah, it's looking like it.
We got a donation from Blaze. He says, hello, good to see you guys, Avanash included. What's going on, Blaze? How you doing, buddy?
Hey.
So like I was saying, I think that I would love to be on one of these shards that, where Emperor Palpatine is taking rank 1. Please. Let me do a shard shift. But yeah, no, I mean, it's great to see that some of the characters are moving around back there. I kind of feel like we're not going to see a shift in this Revan thing until this Rey thing happens. I think that Rey thing will be a game changer because I think that'll be the next big character that we get. I mean, I could be wrong. Maybe it'll be a First Order thing. Maybe it'll be like the Knights of Ren, like Ranger was saying, or maybe it'll be Kylo. Maybe it'll be like a First Order meta. That'd be awesome. To like have some sort of a First Order meta like shuffled in over the next couple of months while we build up for the movie, and then when the movie drops, they release like the version of the Rey Jedi training event, and then then she takes over the meta at that point. That'd be kind of cool until we get Jedi Luke, of course, next year. But yeah, we'll see. Anyway, that's the meta report for top 10 leaders at rank 1. We're going to move along to the top 10 squad members. And again, there's really not much to look at here. Just a lot more Sith Marauder than usual. And, it's pretty much just Sith and a few Jedi at the end. That's really all you can say. I really don't see this almost looks like the exact same report as last week. So,
yeah.
Anyway, we're going to move along to our top 5. And our top 5 this week is top 5 generic characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. This is top 5 we've never done before. Okay, and it's a little bit different because, what constitutes a generic character? So, and like a character that's kind of a nameless character, not a face character like, Han Solo or, Chewbacca or, R2-D2. We're talking about just characters that are part of a faction or don't necessarily have to be, but they're just generic, no-name characters. And the top 5 generic characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes starts off at number 5. Good old Maurice with who?
Number 5 is Death Trooper. I was debating here, Death Trooper, Range Trooper. Death Trooper, Range Trooper. Range Trooper just completely ties that faction together. But Death Trooper, you can use him in various game modes. You can use him under a Palpatine lead. You can use him under a Thrawn lead. You can use him as an all-around Empire character. Just very, very good character. He's got dazed on his basic and can stun on his basic. And he's got an AoE dispel that reduces cooldowns, lands healing immunity. And then, of course, he's got the death mark. Just a very, very good character overall. He's a little slow. His base stats are kind of abysmal, but he's a very, very good, solid all-around character that can be built a multitude of ways and just used in a variety of ways. I mean, I don't think when the Sith Heroic Raid came out, I don't think guilds could have beaten P3 without Death Trooper for the first 2 months. Like, he was a very, very vital character at the very beginning of the Sith. It still is in the Sith Raid. So it's a good all-around character. Is a pilot, very, very good, safe investment.
Yeah,
especially when you got a tenacity and defensive mod on him. I'm gonna kill you, Rebon.
You know what's
how could you do this to Death Trooper?
So Death Trooper has a ton of benefits for all different kinds of Empire related teams. So I mean, he's an Imperial Trooper, which makes him a great character to use with Veers and Colonel Stark and with Range Trooper, and then he's also a character that you can utilize in a multitude of different types of Palpatine teams. He works well, obviously synergizes with Krennic. And there is, a benefit to throwing that Zeta on him, if you do have a high-level Krennic, because, again, it's not going to be like top-tier meta or anything like that, but, you can get some bonuses there. He's also tied to a ship, so that makes him an important character, in the ship world as well. So, overall, I mean, the AoE Dispel, the Death Mark, just make him in my opinion, a very important character in the game. The Death Mark can be the difference, especially in some of these events, like in GOTB, between getting three phases done, or I'm sorry, 3 waves done or 4 waves done. He can end up saving your team there with that. So he's a very important character to have overall in the game. The days on a basic is also huge. So he's just a good all-around character, like Maurice said. I agree 100%. So moving along to our number 4 generic character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, we have First Order Executioner. Now, Maurice, this is your dude.
Yes, and that tells you how good these top 3 characters are, because I am a big...
That's my foxy guy.
Yeah, I'm a huge First Order Executioner homer, and I had to bump him down. I had him initially at 2, and I was like, well, that's a little ridiculous. But he is your damage on the First Order team. He's massive, huge hitting character that does take a kind of a unique... kind of like a hybrid Grievous build where you want to stack him with health and offense. It's a weird build for him, but if you do collect the mods and take the time to mod him correctly, he's one of the hardest hitting characters in the game. Great raid character because that health continues to stack. Just build his damage. That Dispel, like I said, he continually stacks his health. Every time he uses basic, he gets health up, which under crew lead fuels protection and health regeneration. So he's very, very durable. If built with a very, very huge health pool, 6E health circles, just to, deck him out to the nines with health. And he also fuels more turn meter every time he crits. There's a lot of advantage going around the First Order team, so the likelihood that he crits is pretty high, and he feeds 10% turn meter when he does crit. Just real fun character. And once you get on that train, you kill a character, you kill another character, you can just go 1, 2, 3 and knock out the whole team. It's pretty funny because he gets every time he kills a character with a special, he gets another turn, full turn meter, I guess. So it's pretty fun to take out a whole team. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's awesome.
Yeah, obviously, if you look at my screen here, you'll notice that I don't use First Order Executioner too much, but he is a very good character and somebody that is worth the investment. Again, it's just something that if you already, like I had already invested in, First Order TIE Pilot, First Order Officer, and, obviously I have the 2 Kylo Rens, and I have a Zeta First Order Stormtrooper. So, it's this First Order Executioner definitely makes that team a lot better. So he's a character that I'd like to get to at some point. But overall, he's just a hard-hitting character and really somebody that makes that team super dangerous because, he becomes, almost your primary target at the start, and it's tough to get to him because of all the taunts that he's behind on that First Order team. You have taunting Kylo Ren unmasked, you have taunting First Order Stormtrooper, and, First Order Executioner will just whittle down your team, with his, super high damage attacks throughout the course of the match. And if they just keep, feeding turn meter with masked Kylo, to the team, it could become, a really dangerous situation if you don't have the right attack plan. But that's...
he's definitely got to be one you got to take out first because of the massive damage that he does. He's like my favorite character on the First Order team. I just love giving him all the turn meter from First Order officer and such. So just keep him going.
Yeah, you keep him going, and he just keeps he'll slap characters out of the game real quick if you don't get rid of him. So he's a pretty good asset to have. And he makes that First Order team, a lot stronger of an option for you in TW and GA, for example. So I'm definitely missing out there. But c'est la vie. Some other time I'll get to him. Anyway, that is our number 4 generic character in the game. Moving along to our number 3 generic character in SWGOH. Who do we have here, Mo?
Number 3 is B2. B2 battle droids. AoE Dispel, AoE Buff Immunity, and if you want to use him with your Separatist droids, he is the engine that fuels that team. We just talked about First Order. B2 is essentially the same as Masked Kylo for the First Order team. Just fuels lots and lots of turn meter. And even if you don't have the Separatist droids, this is a character, even for the lower GPs, you can plug him in Gear 8, Gear 9, and you've got just a fantastic all-around utility character. Just gets tons of turn meter. He doesn't need any speed. Very easy to mod. It's a way to get just AoE Dispel. And if you max out his other unique, you actually can get just that Dispel to continue to recharge and refresh, and spam it almost every turn, if not every other turn, if not every turn. Just doesn't do any damage. It's very, very tanky. Does kind of synergize with 88 and IPD, T3, those sorts of characters, because he does deliver target lock on his basic. This character used to be meta way back in the day, and he's definitely TW and Grand Arena meta currently. But this is a character that everyone should have in the roster, regardless of if you have the SEP droids or not. So very, very good.
I mean, AoE Dispel with buff immunity is great. Plus, he does wonders against teams with with Yoda and Rex and their tenacity up, etc. So, he's just a great character to have. I mean, he's overall somebody. He's somebody else that you could also throw on like a Rex team yourself, like a hodgepodge team, and kind of. You could put in, Rex and Wampa. You could throw B2 in there, and then you have kind of a whole bunch of different characters that do a lot of different things. And he'll be able to he'll be your dispel, and the real benefit with him is, unfortunately, like I said, I have him still modded for speed, which is really unnecessary because he gets so much turn meter that you really never need to have speed on this character at all. I mean, he's somebody that's going to just go frequently because of those chances to get 100% turn meter. He's somebody that is, an important part of the new droid team. So, I mean, I think that's, especially, I think that Zeta that he has is actually pretty good and worth it as well. So, overall, definitely a top-tier character in this game, has been for quite some time. Somebody who, you can't really use in, meta teams in Arena, but, has this place in the game for sure. That's our number 3 generic character in the game. Moving along to our number 2, we have Sith Marauder. So, Sith Marauder is pretty much the high damage dealer now. He seems to be coming up in the arena a lot now with these Sith Empire teams. You can run him as a 5th. If you don't have Malak, you can run him as a 5th with Malak, and he does a lot of damage. I mean, you have him, right, Maurice? You have him leveled up and you use him?
Oh, yeah. I gear 13 him. I think at gear 13, I mean, I don't have any of the hard numbers, but just from like playing the games, gear 13 Sith Marauder on a Darth Revan team
from the eye test, basically.
Yeah, from the eye test, yes. Gear 13 Darth Revan, if you exclude IPD and like Malak's Gobble and the Annihilate from Nihilus, he's probably the highest damage single target damage character in the game. I mean, he hits harder than my HK does in the arena. Like second turn, he's got 10 stacks of ferocity, just swoops in and one shots HK for 160k. On the first turn of the battle, it's pretty impressive. He's awesome. But the meta did kind of influence this pick. He's just so dominant right now. But if you take it, he's been in the game forever, and we've all tried. Anybody that had Marauder has tried to use him with Palpatine, tried to use him with a Vader dot team. He's just consistently underwhelming on any team not labeled Darth Revan. He does have a kind of a niche use against Infant's Nest. He's very good against Nest because his special, if it crits, it will reduce their health. So you can just use your special on Nest the whole match, get her max health down, so you can take her out. And she won't get that huge protection boost whenever you hit her. So he is a pilot. I think if we revisit this list in a few months, once the meta's changed, he probably will drop down because he is very Darth Revan specific. But that's the meta. We see it all day, every day. And he's probably the popular choice. A lot of guilds, a lot of Grand Arena opponents. I think probably 75% of the opponents I face in Grand Arena use Marauder over Sith Trooper, if not both. So Marauders, you're going to see a lot of him on defense in these PvP-oriented game modes.
So Rooster made a comment here saying Marauders for guys with the best mods. What do you think about that? I mean, do you think he's just
True.
Do you think it's just as far as like he's just basically you have to have great mods for him, and unless you have the god tier mods, it doesn't make sense to use them.
True.
Have to have them.
Yes and no. I mean, I certainly don't have God mods on him, but I've just got him modded a specific way, and that has helped a lot. And I use him in Arena, but you've got to have a fast DR. You have to have a fast Darth Revan to be able to use him, because otherwise the other team is going to be able to take yours down pretty quickly, because Sith Trooper definitely prevents with that taunt, prevents the AoE that he does, and if Marauder's on the team, then the whole team gets it. So, but you've really got to have a fast Darth Revan.
You know what's interesting is these days it kind of feels a little bit like the Poe days when Poe Dameron, having Poe Dameron go first was the most important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's like, I mean, it's not the same, because, I mean, even if somebody else goes first with their Darth Revan and their Bastila, you can still come back. Like, if you use Malak correctly and, depending on, what characters they have, you can still come back. But it seems like, the team that goes first and gets Bastila to stick those debuffs on first has a huge advantage to start off the encounter. So it seems like these days, like it's more of a, it's really like, I mean, the speed of those two characters is very important. So it's like kind of like if you go in and your Revan or your Bastila is slower than your opponents, you're probably going to lose.
Yeah, I do think he fares better. If you've got like a top 10, top 15 speed on your shard, Darth Revan, Sith Marauder, Bastila combo, then definitely give him a look. If you do have the slower mods, I think Sith Trooper, or even if you really are behind on mods, I mean, a lot of guys my shards use Grandmaster Yoda to kind of neutralize Bastila. So there's really not room for him if you have slower mods. But long term, he's a good character to have. His ship is pretty good too. His ship's not
Yeah,
terrible.
I like his ship.
because it's not really a ship anybody's focused on. I think some people are actually starting to get their Gear 13 Marauders and get that ship all omegoed out, and they're seeing that, hey, this ship is a viable tank option in the game. So it's something to consider long term.
I promised Minato Namikaze earlier in the stream that I would give Ranger a shout out to the Eternal Twins, so I just had to do that.
Son of a bitch. I promised not to say his real name if he didn't mention the Eternal Twins again. I guess he just forgot about it. Well, I guess all bets are off now.
That's funny. But that is our number 2 generic character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And drum roll, please. Our number 1 character, generic, in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is...
Not.
Night Sister Zombie. Yay.
Yes. You guys should have seen this one coming. Night Sister Zombie. Everyone knows what she does. She's a nightmare. She's just a regenerating tank. And every time she dies, she fuels turn meter 2 Asajj Ventress, who's one of the most powerful characters in the entire game. So it's just we fortunately have gotten off the paper zombie train. They fixed that a while ago. I know a lot of people were upset about that, but I hated paper zombie. It was so cheesy. But now it's gone. They actually worked it into her kit where she gets the Undying Sacrifice, which I see you have not leveled up at all. But when she died, like your Night Sisters basically get your Night Sisters basically get 2 get out of jail free cards, so you can go right after Daka. Let's kill Daka. She's going to revive anybody I kill. You kill her once, she pops back up. Kill her twice, she pops back up. This very, very good character. Does have a heal. They implemented a heal into her kit. She's got tenacity down on her basic attack. So if you do make her super, super fast, all those stuns from Daka, all those stuns from Spirit, Asajj, any debuff on the team is going to land. It's very, very just... This character is too good. It's very, very OP character. It is what makes the Night Sisters so powerful. Is this character right here? I mean, you can make a case Spirit should be on this list too, but I tried to keep it one perfection. And Zombie is, Zombie. Everyone should have at least a 3-star Night Sister Zombie, even if you don't have the Night Sister. She's annoying. People were using her for a while to kind of cheese Revan, as she'd be the leader. And they'd fear Zombie, they'd kill her, she'd pop right back up. So it's just, there's all sorts of corny little cheesy ways to use her in the game.
She is not up to par on my team. But
why is that, Ramon? Why is Night Sister Zombie one of the most key characters of the Night Sister team being treated such?
Well, okay, so I was leveling up the Night Sisters, and I was really focusing on that faction during the time of the Paper Zombie. So I was rocking a Paper Zombie for a while. And when they did the rework to Zombie, I didn't care. So I just moved on. Anyway, Gear 8 Zombie. Check it out. Rock and roll, guys. No, seriously though, I use Nest with my Night Sisters anyway as my 5th, so I don't use Zombie. I use Night Sister Acolyte. Oh no, Night Sister. No, not Acolyte. I use Night Sister. Jesus. Which one is the one with the bow and arrow?
Night Sister Jesus.
That's Acolyte.
That's
Acolyte.
Night Sister Initiate is the tank. Okay, so Night Sister Acolyte I use Talzin and Asajj and Daka. So and then I use I usually use Nest as my 5th on that team. So that's for the most part why, because I've been able to get away with it. I do eventually have to come back around for Night Sister Zombie, but again, there's always a new focus in this game. Like right now I'm working on Separatist. I have no time for Night Sister Zombie. You know what I mean?
Yes, you do.
No, I don't. You do. No, I don't.
Come on now, Ramon. Come Ramon. You get your ass in there and you fix that goddamn zombie to 10.
Okay, Gear 10 I can do.
And get that goddamn get that damn 4-dot mod off of her.
Okay. All right. Paper Zombie was cool. I wish they still had
2017 called. They want their zombie back. It's 2019.
They should have left her paper.
No,
No, they should not have
no. Jesus.
They should have left her the way she was. It
Words
was great to have a character that we didn't need to do anything with.
Words are hard.
No, listen. I don't want to have to gear every single character.
Because if I faced your team in arena, and this might happen in arena because we're right at the same GP, I'm going to trooper the hell out of that team and laugh.
Listen, if I ever face you in Grand Arena, okay, you'll be absolutely surprised to the outcome of that game, okay? Because I promise you that if I don't play, but you will wake the sleeping dragon, and I will rain fire on your face.
My goodness, that's the most passionate I've heard Rogue get about this game since.
Whoa, yeah.
Young on in the Rancor.
Now with the Gear 8 zombie, you're not breathing anything but
I
breath.
was looking for wow factor there. I wasn't.
Yes.
I wasn't really.
I like the passion. Yeah, I like the passion.
Sometimes you gotta show some passion, otherwise people.
You gotta show some love. Yeah.
But no, I mean, I hope I don't face you in Grand Arena. Anyway, so we're gonna move along now to our honorable mention, and our honorable mention is Resistance Trooper. So I know you probably would have thought here, not Resistance Trooper, but no, it is Resistance Trooper, right? Because I mean, listen, he's got the expose on his basic, he dispels with his special, he gets turn meter with expose. I mean, he's really a cool character, and on paper, he sounds like a character that would work really well on some different teams. Like, I've actually tried Resistance Trooper with, characters like on a Rogue One team, with Jyn Erso lead because of the exposes. I thought it'd be great to have a character who's gaining all this turn meter from that, and we've tried that out, and it works great, like in Grand Arena. I mean, not Grand Arena. I mean in Galactic War and things like that. But really, the team is a little bit less, a little bit underwhelming. So I mean. But overall, the character is fantastic, and I mean, he was part of that trio of Poe and Finn that could really take down, a lot of great teams, and she was able to take down Traya in Territory Wars and Grand Arena. But the thing is that after the rework to Finn, with that leadership ability being taken away. He's a little bit less relevant, and I think that's why Maurice didn't put him on the list, right? Because if that team was still intact the way it was, he'd be higher on this list.
Yeah. Well, and I was undecided. I gave a choice: Resistance Trooper or what was it, Geonosian Spy? I think I picked. But Resistance Trooper still is relevant. He's still very, very relevant.
Phase 1 of the Heroic Sith.
Well, it's just we looked at the meta report. We see 214 IG-88s, and then a handful, maybe 50 or so HK-47s. Mm-hmm. So that's more than likely 270 people that have a BB-8-less Jedi Training Ray team. And Resistance Trooper, some people use Holdo, but Resistance Trooper just really goes in there, and a lot of people are having trouble with these bugs, and he just completely turn meter locks the bugs because he's going so often. He goes so often. He's continually using special. Draining the turn meter from any exposed enemy, does big damage. He gets a couple damage pieces, I think, at gear 12. Let me see. I think he gets a bayonet, maybe one other damage piece at gear 12. Good damage. Like Ramon mentioned, he synergizes decently with other teams. Jyn Erso lead. He's a great character. When C-3PO came out, a lot of people were using him with their like CLS Han teams because there's so many exposes generated from C-3PO. Resistance Trooper takes a ridiculous amount of turns on that team, so he does still work very, very well with those of you that reinvested in the Finn Zeta. Still a pretty mandatory part in that team, but he's a good character, relatively easy to obtain, probably middle of the road type stuff for gear. Just a good damage character. He can serve his purpose at gear 10, gear 11. If you're just using him specifically to fuel exposes and remove turn meter, right? Whatever scenario you're using him in, he doesn't have to be super decked out to be effective. So one to consider if you got some extra energy to spend. Maybe some. I think he's in the Cantina store. Where's he at? The Guild store? I think he's in one of the stores now.
He's in one of the stores. I think he's in the I think he's in the Guild store.
Yeah. So.
But yeah, I do have a 3-dot mod on my Resistance Trooper.
Yeah, I see it with the 3-dot mod. Typical remod.
But it's a good one. So I'm sure
if you were smart, Ramon, you would take that honorable mention when you do the slides and kind of cover your mods so we can't see them.
I love these conversations. What are you talking about? I love when people attack my mods. It's part of the show. It's part of the show.
You know, it is kind of, you know, it's tradition.
Yeah.
If I didn't have crap mods, I mean, what would we talk about?
I mean, tradition.
We can't really. If I had everything modded perfectly, it'd get real boring in here real quick.
Yeah, that's why you do it. Okay. That's science, folks. That's why he does it. If you're thinking any other reason, you thought wrong.
Omega dropping the $20. Thank you, man. Yes, Team Skunk is what it says.
Team Skunk, throwing it back. Omega is from the Team Skunk days. Omega, Omega also. I like I mentioned last week, he has his own YouTube channel. He covers comic books, and
yes,
he used to cover Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. I don't think he does anymore, but there's some old Star Wars Galaxy Heroes videos on there, so you should check that out. But he does he has a lot of knowledge of like the the comic book world. He's also big into Dragon Ball Z and things like that. So I mean, he knows a lot about comics. So I mean, I would check out his videos if you want to see. If you're into comics big time and you want to get a review on them before you make a purchase, or if you just want to hear somebody rant, about his feelings about it, Omega can rant with the best of them. So if you like me ranting from time to time, check him out for sure. Skunk needs to make another comeback. That's for sure. I mean, it'd be cool. It'd be cool if we had a new. If we imagine he just fully launched, just like tomorrow, this came back and he had like a 5.6 million GP account that he bought from somebody, and he was just like, just back on the scene, streaming 7 days a week. That's what he used to do. He used to stream it was random, but he would stream like 4 or 5 times a week.
I don't remember him streaming 4 or 5 days a week. I remember Friday nights was the big stream that you guys are putting out.
We had the big stream every week, the main stream, but he would also occasionally just do these other side streams, and he would play other games sometimes in them too. Like he'd play, he was playing Marvel. That game that Maurice played. No.
Future Fight. He made a huge push for everyone to play Future Fight.
He tried to create like a Team Skunk Future Fight. And it didn't work out.
Well, what was that other god-awful Star Wars game that came out?
Force
Arena.
Force Arena, yeah.
They've already shut that game down. I don't think that game's even around anymore.
No, it's not anymore. It went out in March, I believe.
It's actually out of the store. Like, you can't download it anymore?
I think it's, I think they should have done
it. They closed it in March. Yeah.
Oh, thank God that I didn't make any investment in that game. I mean, like that's... it actually wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. It was just not my type of game. I mean, I think that for people that play, it was more like what's that game? Clash of Clans, like that kind of game. So if you're into like Clash of Clans style, if they had done it right, I think it would have been a little bit better. I mean, it just seemed like it was kind of janky. And I know there were people like that guy Gluten who covered that game, and. I know he got really sick of it.
It's just too many problems, and it was too limited in scope of what you could do with it. I mean, it's just
a really bad reskin of other popular games.
Yeah, and it just didn't work. I mean, it had some cool features. There was, I played it for a little bit, but it just it was just too many issues with it. It just I can see why it failed. I mean, you don't ever want to see a game fail, because people put a lot of time and effort and energy into that. But I mean, it's got to be a product where it enthralls you, right? I mean, and that game did not do that. So, unfortunately,
Yeah, I mean, it was the premise was cool, and had they done it right, I think it would have been more successful. But unfortunately, it just didn't work out. I had fun the few times I played it, and I played it for like a couple weeks, but it was like not my style of game. Well, it's not like Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes in any way, and also it's it's just kind of like to play that on a mobile game. I mean, like it's like really small on the screen. I mean, to me, it was like kind of janky. But nonetheless, that is our top 5 for the week. Top 5 generic characters in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Please do smash the like button. And
what's up with that? 57 people watching and only 16 likes. What's up?
Please do subscribe to the channel. Please do make me feel special, because it does make me feel special when people do hit the like button. I feel like people appreciate me a little bit more. But other than that, we're going to move back into some gameplay. And while we do that, we're going to take questions. So I know we've probably had a few during the stream already, but this is typically that time for any of you that may not have been here before, where we take questions and comments from the chat, and we will discuss any topics that you want to discuss. We'll answer any questions that you have. And, we have a pretty knowledgeable panel here of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes players, from the whaliest of the whale to people that are playing relatively free to play. So we can give you any advice that you have. So I mean, do we have any questions from earlier?
Yeah, we got a few here. I got the chat. We got one here from Ray Rock. Says, "You mean good old Grant is no good here?" As you can see, Ray Rock, I got the spectacles on. So, what a bad joke that was on Saturday morning. But hey,
it was funny as hell, and it was.
All right, we got a couple live show questions from very beginning before we even started tonight. Our PBG, that's a new name that I saw. Welcome to the show. PBG asks, "What is more important priorities, Geos, Galactic Republic, or Gear 13? What do you guys think?"
Well, it depends on where you're at on your GP, depending on where you're at with GOTBs. There's a lot more factors that go into that than just...
Yeah.
It's way more factors. I mean, if your guild's pushing hard on GOTB, then obviously the Separatists are the way to go, right? If they're not, let's say you're like a 10 to 12 star on your GP and you're like a 2.5 million, maybe you want to go for, GR. And then maybe you're in that 2 million range, 2 to 2.5, and you're just trying to get characters. Well, maybe you need some Gear 13 on your arena team, depending on which arena team you're running and which characters you've got ready to be taken up to 13. You just don't want to take a character to 13 because it can go to 13. You want to make sure you do the right ones in a certain order, because the gear is hard to get. It's a pain in the ass. It's a huge investment. So I think there's a lot of stuff to that question. I don't think any of us can really give you a good solid answer on. There's just too many factors. But I mean, all things considered, I think your GR team done, especially if you got a 7-star Padme, would be important. But you're doing GOTB, you gotta get those Geos and droids up, man. One, you can't even get into the battles, and two, if you do, yeah, not pleasant. I don't know what the rest of you guys think on this one.
Well, yeah, I mean, I if you're not the guild that's really progressing, if you guys are still doing Hoth territory battles, you're probably not really in a position to really need too many Gear 13s, because your GP is probably like 2.5-ish, 3 billion. If you guys are still doing Hoth, you got no chance of Geonosian TB. I would go ahead and get your Separatists and your droids up. Not only because they're going to be required in the future, but because they make solid teams for TW, for Grand Arena. All the best. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You need Padme. So there you go. I mean, I would pick at least 5 for that event alone. So Galactic Republic will come. I think if you're asking who to do Geonosians or Galactic Republic, it's definitely Geonosians, because that's the current TB. Galactic Republic will likely be next. They'll likely be required for the next TB. But that's a game that's not even out yet. So focus on the now, I guess. And you know, it only, you know, Galactic Republic, you're going to naturally get over the course of the game because they have pilots, and then most of the good characters that are on that Padme team have a ship. Ahsoka, Anakin, GK all have ships, so that's something to consider as well. So
Geos do too. So it's
true. Yeah. So there you go. I mean, all of them. There's really not a bad route to go there. I just, if you gear 13 characters at a lower GP, you're kind of, you know, for arena, if you need it for arena, yes. But other than that, I don't think you need to be focused on gear 13ing other, you know, niche teams like the Night Sisters or the Troopers or whoever you want to do, just because you're going to kind of limit yourself because you're going to have to use your energy to farm for those components instead of for the characters that you need.
Right.
So, yeah, you'll get everything one day.
One day you'll have it all.
Yes. Next question. Sorry, Abby. Anything you want to add? You want to give anything your thoughts on that, or?
You pretty much said exactly what I was going to say. So I'm good, and
that's
don't bother Abby. She's got 6 accounts. Leave her alone.
That's why I didn't add anything either. You pretty much touched on everything.
He touched on everything. He touched it, fondled it, moved it around, whatever it was.
Okay.
It worked.
Tickle. Indy Fox, next question. Can Ramon spend some of his energies? It kills me seeing them full.
It
looks like he has spent most of them.
I'm gonna spend it now for you. I'm gonna go here and I'm gonna buy some stun guns just for you. Okay.
Yeah.
And trust me, Indy Fox. Ramon is now in my guild, so it kills me more than it kills you.
Oh my
That's right.
god!
That 600 ticker gets down to the wire.
Why? Okay, has your guild talked about his mods?
No, man. He's on. We've only one day. He's been on a 600. Yeah, the modding we're have to get to. We're gonna have to get some of them Zai, the mighty Zai, to show them what's up.
Yeah. Well, my mods will get fixed, but I mean, yeah, no, I'm you know, I do my part.
There was another question trolling you. I've lost it though. Here.
I think they're starting to take a collection for me to remod.
Yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pass the church plate around. Help remod. Get a real.
Well, we can, like I said, I mean, we could do like a live remodding, and
we're gonna do it live, and I'm gonna make you sit there the whole time too, remod, you bastard.
We could do like a live remodding, and you guys can see here, like, you know, firsthand. We'll call it like remodding 101, and we'll have you know, we can have like Ranger in here and Grande Patron, and we can do like a whole thing, and we can have Maurice in here, and we can sit here for 6.5 hours and just talk about mods, you know.
Well, it will be 101 because we can actually live on the scene, just show everybody how to delete 3 and 4 mods.
Yeah. You guys will learn how to get rid of 3 and 4 mods, what mods you should keep, what mods you shouldn't. That would really be the biggest that would be the greatest thing for somebody to decide, you know, some of the mods that I have that I don't like. I don't want to, like, there's mods that I have that are like
crap.
Yeah, but I mean, there's mods that I have that are okay, and I'm you know, sitting there and like deciding whether you want to delete an okay mod is always the hardest thing for me, you know. And,
it is.
Yeah, I did that. Yeah, when the last one I did, going through and showing people like how do you figure out what mods to keep and which mods to get rid of, right? And I was showing like the different stats and things of that nature, and so I mean, a lot of people loved it because like I had no idea. I'm like, well, now you do.
Well, you could title it Remod Part 1 through 100.
Remodding, yeah.
As I said, the plate's flying around, folks. If you want me to do it, I will do it. I better get a collection going.
It might take several episodes to get it done.
No, I'm not like that, Avalanche. When I go in, I go in. I'll have a bottle of bourbon, and we're going to get skunked as I do this crap.
Yeah, you're gonna need 2 bottles of bourbon for that ordeal. That's gonna take you a while. So go ahead and get you a full handle.
I think you're gonna.
All right, we got a lot of.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was saying we got some stuff flying in here. I'm gonna ask some of these just so I simply don't lose them. Jose Garcia asked, "When should we expect the next Grand Arena Championship?"
Weeks.
I also think it will take some time. I don't think with all the cheating stuff that's been going on. I hope. We talked about this a great deal on Saturday. Mm-hmm. I do hope that they they almost have to implement some sort of change, even if it's just a minor one. Something has to. I mean, they need to show the community that something is, at least they're attempting to do something. So some new feature should be added, whether it be like a preventative type of thing, a screenshot of
battle log, something like that.
Something.
You want to know what's completely gross about this? Is that this is the same exact thing that hampered tournaments when tournaments first came out. The same.
That's the most frustrating part for me.
Cheat. The same exact cheat. They didn't even get a new cheat. They didn't even figure something new out. They just cheated the same way that they did the first time. We all knew that this was good. This game mode coming out, Grand Arena Championships, was going to be most closely dissimilar to tournaments. Like that was kind of like where, like this, like where what it's like. It's tournaments without character shards, which is absolutely, which was ridiculous. That 4 years later we're getting the same mode, but without the same rewards. But so tournaments with no character shards, and they didn't fix the cheating, which was the problem that we had 2 years ago. So 3 years ago almost. So I don't understand how this wasn't like a thought process going into Grand Arena Championships, like, oh, we shut down this whole game mode. Like, it's like as if like a whole new team took over and they had no idea that 2 years ago or 3 years ago there was this like cheating problem, and that's why they stopped doing tournaments, which is kind of weird. You know, you would think that, you know, they would have been on top of that, you know. And I mean, I don't know if there's even really a fix for it, okay, but like they should have had a statement ready for when this happened to say, hey, listen, we knew that this was going to be a part of it. Okay, it happened with tournaments. It's going to happen here too. Deal with it, or, you know, we're going to take measures to try to fix it. But we can't make any guarantees because ultimately, you know, it's something that it's something that people are going to find ways to do it no matter what. If it's unfixable for any reason, they can just say that, okay, and we'll deal with it. You know what I'm saying? But ultimately, I think that this is the same problem that happened before, and it should have been at least like it shouldn't be like a shocker. I mean, it was like it felt like they were kind of blindsided by this. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, which is kind of weird because, you know, you figure. You know, I was thinking in my head, I mean, we were talking about it before Grand Arena Championships came out. I think we were having a conversation about the cheating on the stream, and we were saying, like, oh, well, hopefully they fix the whole cheating thing, you know, and then, you know, we just didn't think about it again until now because, you know, it came up. But, I mean, it's kind of disappointing.
Well, they look to have done at least a little something. If you guys go over to Division, I don't even know if you can still look at it, but in Division 1, it appears that two of the players in the top 50 they've done something with. Neither of them have a guild, nor do they have and they also have a very low arena and ship rank. So it does look like they've at least maybe those players quit after the first Grand Arena Championship. I'm unsure, but it looks like they are at least attempting it. I don't know. That could be just like I said. They could.
Well, they put out that post saying that they've caught 30% or whatnot. But then,
that's
Bulldog.
There's no way for us to check the numbers. Too.
No, we don't know what that's being compared against. Yeah, we talked about it on our last Wednesday. You know, but Bulldog was able to use the same thing you're talking about, Remon. I'm not going to give the whole thing whether you thought what he did was right or wrong and all that stuff, but he was able to basically use the CAC for 2 months and not get caught. That says something. You know,
it's crazy. It's crazy.
You know, so it's a big issue. Something needs to be addressed just for the public. I mean, so here's the thing. So I was a big fan of some of the things they said, the lifetime ban and all that other stuff that they put out in some of the recent posts that we saw before GAC started. I'm like, good, right? And I thought that, the community has been more involved with cheating, but it's smart players that cheat make it really hard for you to catch them because they don't. Some are just blatant. You're like the one against what's his name? He was streaming it, and the guy got 62 banners on every win. It's like a DB official. That's pretty obvious. You're like, oh, come on, Jesus. But then there's some that are really subtle and sneaky about it. But yeah, so. But for public faith in this game, how many times have we seen other games that because of hacking and cheating? I always bring up the example of Diablo 2 of just how brutal it can be to where nobody wants to play the game anymore.
Right.
if the consuming public loses in the game, then you're in big trouble.
Yeah. Well, we'll see. I mean,
I'm not, like I said, I'm not even I'm not even upset about the cheating itself. I mean, it sucks, but there's cheating in every game. It's never going to stop. Okay, there will always be cheating in games. I mean,
sure,
right.
It's part of the deal. I mean, like, listen, we have. I've referenced many times on this stream. I play another game called Power Rangers, and they cheat all the time. Okay, it's a live action game, and there are raids and there are guild events, and there are guilds that circumvent the system to get points. So they'll either fight matches against each other, like they'll fight themselves, like they'll literally log in at the same time with two separate accounts and fight themselves and let one character beat the other one just to get the rewards. And give their guild more points. So there's people that have two whale dummy accounts that they just use to fight themselves every night. They wait till 3 o'clock in the morning when nobody's playing, and then they just play against themselves. And they get, and you can see, I mean, their scores are ridiculous. There's no way that anybody who is playing legitimately would have that many points, right? They do it in raids. And people, sometimes they get away with it, and then sometimes somebody reports them, and you'll see, suddenly the person who was at rank 1 is suddenly not on the leaderboard anymore, and they just took him off, and they punished him. They give him either a ban for a certain period of time, or sometimes they'll just straight up kick them out of the game and never let them come back. They'll ban the account permanently, and they lose all the assets that they put on the game. They can't ask for a refund. That's it. You know what I'm saying? They have to literally start from scratch all over again. So, I would say that if they did that a few times, I know that that's not really awesome to ban somebody who spent money on the game. That sucks. But if you're cheating, and you're going to start to think about whether it's worth it to risk my account for that, right? Is it worth it to possibly lose this, however many thousands of dollars I've invested in this game already over the years, just to win a couple of TWs or GAs, it's not worth it. So, I think if the punishment was stricter and they actually enforced it and some people saw, and it was kind of in the public eye and people saw it, I think that, there'd be less cheating, but there always will be cheating because there will be people that take, really, really whack accounts and just hack them. You know what I'm saying? Because they don't care. Or they'll just keep buying new accounts, or there'll always be somebody who circumvents the system in some way. There's people that cheat in Arena every single day for 4 years now. I promise you that. Okay? It happens. So, it's mainly the people that get in trouble are the ones that are outspoken about it. The people that live stream it, or the people that that tell a friend about it. They like to brag about their misdeeds. So then what happens is that person tells somebody else, and then that person who's not friends with that person has no problem reporting them to Lucifer's daddy. But if you guys do ever see anything nefarious going on in the game, there is a guy dedicated to that. I'm sure anybody who's been on the forums already knows his name. Lucifer's daddy on the forums, Star Wars Galaxy Heroes forums, is literally the man that's in charge of the cheating. So he's in charge of negotiating the cheating and also issuing the punishment. So, tag him or send him a DM in the forums if you ever see anything that you think looks fishy. But at the end of the day, like I said, I mean, you can't just shut down a game mode like they did with tournaments 3 years ago because people are cheating. There's always going to be cheating. Even if you make a fix, there will be people that find another way to cheat. It's just the way it's the way of the world.
I know, they have small peepees.
Well, I mean, they've married. They can't shut this game down. They've married themselves to it. They've got a whole store and a whole currency system dedicated to this game mode. This isn't like tournaments where it's there's no, you play the tournament, you got your prize at the end of the tournament, you open your box at the end. But now we've got everything is structured around Grand Arena, and the way Kerry was speaking in that interview on the Escape podcast almost leads us to believe that Grand Arena Championship is set up long term to potentially replace the daily arena. So I mean, they're all in on this game mode. There's no way I don't see any way they can just shut it down. I think that would send them so far back in terms of planning and stuff.
Well, the reason is they found a way to monetize it, right? I mean, the original tournaments, They monetized it at first, then they quickly pulled back because of player backlash about with the crystals. They made it all the ally tokens, right? And then they gave you a way to get those ally tokens, and then they realized that, like, if people are just spending ally tokens and there's no real they can just keep using the same teams over and over and over again. They don't have to like level up or gear up other characters or other teams. They had to figure out some way to make it so that every time you use a team, they're now no longer available for you, and you have to move on to the next team. And if you don't have, and that's why everything is done specifically mathematically for a reason. That's why you have to field a certain amount of teams in TW and GA. That's why you have to have like 4 teams per section or whatever it is, 2 teams per section. It's just set up that way so that you'll have to gear up characters. So they found a way to make money off of it by making people spend money on crystals and long-term farming kind of money. Whereas with the tournaments, they didn't have really a way to monetize it. They tried to do it a certain way at first, and they kind of changed their mind about it, and then they decided to just pull the thing all together because they figured that they'd have to attack it a different way. So their focus long-term, since around that time really, has been to try to find a way to make us have to gear up every single character in the game. Because they know that's the way they make the most money is by making us gear up everybody, So that's kind of the way they. So they figure, with ships, that's why there's characters that are just tied to ships, because you have to gear them up to have a good ship with that character. So they'll just forever be like kind of just a character that's tied to a ship, and that's all they really are in this game.
Maybe to you.
Unless your name is Resistance Pilot, you can go ahead and avoid that character.
Right. Right, you can avoid that character.
Please do.
But, next question.
Ray Rock,
yeah.
Speaking of Resistance Pilot, asks, is it worth farming the Resistance in general? What do you guys think?
Yes.
Yeah. Not priority, but definitely still worth it.
Yeah, that's a great point, Abby. Back in the day, before the Revens, JTR was a powerhouse team, and it's still a really good team. Can take out bounty hunters, can take out First Order, can take out a lot of teams still. I love using it against Geos simply because all that goes in their AoE days is like, wee!
Yeah.
But go ahead, Abby.
I was going to say, JTR does, now when you use her, she does use a lot of droids on her team these days, but at the same time, it's good to have a resistance backup in that sense. Finn is still really good with JTR. I don't even use Poe anymore, but Finn still works really, really well with her, especially in like the Sith raid and other stuff that you can use, including against other teams in GAC and TW. So it's still good. It's just not priority, or I should say it's not number 1 these days.
Yeah, you mentioned, I think Finn, you have to have Finn, Scav Ray, and BB-8 to get Jedi Training Ray. As you mentioned, you can use droids with Jedi Training Ray. There's enough of them in the game now. You got plenty to build a team out of. So you will want to get her, but you only need, a Gear 8, Gear 9-ish, Scav Ray, and BB. I mean, you want BB-8, but Scav Ray you can take up. But Finn is a very, very, very safe investment. Any character with any sort of stacking damage component is always going to be good for the raid. I would definitely get Finn because Finn, if you gear him up and do invest in him, he's kind of tough to gear. But if you put him under JTR, you counter so many teams with it, and it's a way you can. A lot of people have problems with Nest. Finn is an answer for Nest. If you stack up his special high enough, he can one-shot Nest if the turn meters and stuff line up. Very, very good character. Trooper is good. We talked about him earlier. Not required at all. Scav Ray, hits really hard, but she's really not mandatory. You debuff her and she's worthless. So,
Yep.
You have to run her on a certain team. The reason I run a Holdo and BB-8 and R2 is because you've got Foresight being thrown all over the place.
Yeah.
And that gets taunt going on Holdo as well. So, and Scav Ray at 12 with the bayonet, sweet mother of mercy of God, does she hit hard.
Yes,
she's one-shot characters. I've seen her go through just one shot. At first, a tank like, oh, you have protection. I'm Ray, bitch, and just smack the crap out of him. It's like, oh my god.
Well, I know you're a Holdo fan. I'm really not, but I mean, Phantom Morgan and Rooster talking about it. I mean, there are very, very few characters with AoE days in the game. Very, very good for taking out.
Yeah, lots of things. Yeah, I mean, she, you know, the AoE day, she can get protection back on a character, things of that nature. So she's only effective though with the resistance. It's not a character that I would recommend you work on. But if you do eventually work on her and get her up, she's very, very, very solid. And that's why when I face bounty hunters or teams that, you know, call and assist, that's what kills them, is because she's putting that AoE days. Because she's like, oh no, you done, then it's over. You know, because between JTR and BB-8, especially when she get eliminated, it's over. You know, so, but she has a very specific, she's very niche. Very niche.
Yeah, honestly, if you haven't invested in the resistance yet, I get your JTR, and I get your Finn, and then just sit and wait. With the new movie coming out, we might get another character or two, like we talked about.
Poe too.
Yeah, Poe's very good. Poe's ship is always going to be useful. Yeah, he hits hard, so that's a very good ship. And he is, as far as tanks go, he's relatively easy. He's agility based tank, so he's pretty easy to gear. And you know, so he's a good character, fast. AoE turn meter remover exposed, so I mean that's always going to be very handy. So, yeah. Next one. Speaking of resistance, we have another one here. How about we give characters their correct tags now that there's no meta implications? What do you guys think about the vets getting resistance, Fulcrum as Phoenix, etc.? From Brendo Macabo. You think we'll ever see these characters get the proper tags or additional tags?
You're talking about characters like for example, like, you know, how like how they gave HK-47 the
Sith Empire,
the old Republic tag or whatever, you know, I mean, like that kind of thing. Okay.
I mean, Ahsoka makes sense of the Phoenix. I never understood why she was never given as much time she spent with them. I mean, the vets, no. I mean, Han and Chewie in the movie were smuggling. They weren't part of the Resistance. They had nothing to do with the Resistance. They were former rebellion heroes, and they just got tied into the whole Resistance thing with because of Ben Solo. But Han had left. He had nothing to do with them. I think it makes sense. I think the scoundrel smuggler tag for him makes more sense, and I'm glad he has those that you can use with that faction. I think some cases could be made for some of the characters. Some cases could not. So, but it's all subjective. I mean, I'm sure there's someone out there going, "Ranger, you're stupid, and they should be part of the Resistance." Well, it's great.
Well, I think it's some process. Like, part of the process is when they send these characters for approval. Like, you know, it's not really their decision. I think who makes these tags. I think they probably send them a list of tags, and then it gets checked. Yeah, you can use this one, this one, this one, this one. And they send it back. So, I don't think it's really their call to do that. But we'll see. I doubt it. Somebody's asking about Visas too. I mean, I guess she could have a tag as well added.
Sorta, but she was really a neutral character in a sense. She was kind of on her own path. I mean, there are characters like that. I mean, Revan eventually being like a neutral character.
I mean, she should, like, they should pick one side though and just give it to her. I mean, like, you know, that I think, like, she should, if she's not going to be a Sith, she should be a Jedi.
Yeah. But just something, because she's such a good character, but she really doesn't fit anywhere, like, consistently. Like, she's really plug and play, but it would be nice
to have a place for her. I mean, like, I can't think of anywhere to put her. Like, when I think about teams, like, there's no place, unless you're just using her as like a fifth against a Sith team. That's really the only place she has, you know? Another thing I wanted to discuss is in the Road Ahead post, they did mention, you know, leveling up these pieces, right? Like these legendary artifacts. So, you know, what do you guys think about that? I mean, what do you think about putting 500 Carbantes into, like, Hermit Yoda's staff?
I'm really not looking forward to that.
No, yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about it? What do you think about putting in, you know, 1,000 thermal detonators into a Ray Scavenger's stick?
I hope it's not for a while. Like we really need
please,
at least.
We just got Gear 13 for
Yeah, we
God's
need at least
sakes.
2-3 months of Gear 13. Like,
At
let
least,
some people get some Gear 13. I mean, there are people probably watching this chat that if they have any Gear 13s at all, they might have 2 or 3. You know, maybe no more than 5. So I mean, that's you got to let at least people. Get at least Gear 13 their key characters first. Like, see, the
honestly,
very best.
Honestly, I'm going to tell you what I feel about this. I think it's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life. Okay, I think it's a horrible idea, just a horrible idea, and I don't care about any items that much in the game. I mean, the only items that matter to me are like Darth Vader's lightsaber, which probably wouldn't even be his artifact. It'd probably be his helmet. You probably have to gear up like Darth Vader's helmet. I mean, listen, I just think it's really dumb. I mean, like, they said something about adding new abilities, right? Which would be cool. Like, that would be a good benefit for that, right? Like, leveling it up,
right.
And now you get some new ability because you do that. That's cool. I mean, but I'm saying there has to be a different way to introduce the abilities. Like, I don't want to level up, I don't want to level up like the Darksaber. And like, and that would be that would be literally like a cool item to do that with. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, like, there's not many. Not everybody has an item. You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, like, are they only going to pick specific characters like Hermit Yoda and Darth Maul's lightsaber? And I mean, or is it going to be where everybody like they just have to create something? Like, is it going to be old Daka's tentacles on her head? And
well, they said in the Q&A that every character is going to get something. So maybe like Resistance Pilot will get sort of like Resistance shoelaces, and
Resistance shoelaces. Yeah.
Trooper gets a scope.
Yeah, I'm with you on this one.
Stuff for generic characters.
I think
or he gets a better sun visor.
I imagine it's going to be like other RPGs. It'd be like Resistance Pilot's shoelaces +1. +2, +3, +4, +5, and then you rank it up, and then depending on the level of whatever that piece is, it gives them more stats in a specific thing. Like Hermit Yoda, you mentioned, like maybe you gear up his staff, and his Hermit Yoda staff +2 gives 10% extra healing, and 3 gives 11, 12, all the way up. Just I don't know, annoying sort of busy work to do on the side and panic about. And spend money on. So
I think those Resistance shoelaces are going to be a hit, though. I would love to have a pair of those. No, but I mean, you got to level up Resistance Trooper's helmet. Yeah, for sure. Resistance Trooper's helmet and First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. You got to level up her pistol. And
yes.
And you got to level up. Princess Leia's muffs on her head. The little headpiece that she has.
For cinnamon buns.
Yeah, the cinnamon buns. I mean, listen, there are, of course, you can come up with some ridiculous item for every single character that they should level up. But why? Just give me
it's getting overwhelming.
Just give me a mat that says I have new abilities for Darth Vader. I mean, I don't need to level up Darth Vader's helmet. Okay, just, I mean, I get it. Like, you want to, like, tie it into the lore somehow. But it's I don't know. Unless you're going to literally create items that are like special items in the game that you can equip to certain characters that are like not currently available to these characters, that would be cool. But other than that, I mean, the character, every character in the game already has and utilizes the weapons that they have already. So, I mean, I don't see any reason to level up Darth Vader's helmet or Rey's stick because she already uses her stick. I've got a Rey, and she's got a stick. I don't know. I just think it sounds dumb. That's. I mean, maybe when they release it, it'll be something completely different that I'm thinking in my head, and I'll feel stupid about it, and I hope so. I mean, because I'm sure it's not as dumb as I'm thinking it is right now. But
I mean, it's another piece of equipment that we need to get for these characters, and the problem is it's starting to get overwhelming. I mean, it really is.
Yeah.
Because, all these characters, the gear crunches, first you got the star arm, then getting the gear, and then mods, and then you're going to add another item that we have to farm for and do stuff with. I mean, it's ridiculous. I mean, it's getting out of control.
If you don't have Hermit Yoda staff, you're not going to win an arena. You know what I'm saying? So that's
I don't know if...
If you don't have Darth Vader, if you don't have Darth Revan's mask leveled up, you're not going to win.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm saying it's like, you know, it'll be a difference maker, which will be another level of tier of that separates. It'll be another form of monetization somehow. You know, so
of course
it is what it is. Anyway, that's why we love Star Wars, okay? Because of Hermit Yoda's staff. But anyway, I just was bringing that up because I've been thinking about it for like a week or so since that post, and I was thinking to myself, like, why? This is such a stupid idea. Like, why? You know, I mean, I've never really, I always am like optimistic or at least open-minded about any of the game modes or ideas that they come up with. I mean, I've been completely in on almost everything that they've done since the game's come out, for the most part, with the exception of that Citadel pack with Death Trooper. You know what I'm saying? With things like that, those things piss me off. And cost-wise, pisses me off. But I mean, like, I've been on board with any idea, like, as far as, like, you know, the raids and the territory battles and anything like that. I'm always in on this. You know, this sounds kind of like reaching, in my opinion. You know, it sounds like it's like a little bit of reaching for another reason to add another layer of level, because, you know, they're at the point now where, you know, they're trying to figure out a way to make money with the existing characters that they already have. You know, they don't want to just keep pumping new characters into the game and that's the only way they make money. They want to find a way to continue to, you know, Gear 13 or Gear 12 finishers or Gear 12 plus, or, you know, they want to find the new. They want to find the new tier for you to have to, you know, like old games do it. And they promised a long time ago that they would never, like, increase star levels or make us have to regain star levels again. But they do stuff like that in games where, like, you know, you get characters to, like, 7 stars, and then you have to get them to 7 stars, like 7 red stars, you know, instead of 7 gold stars, you know? And now when you get so you have to get them to 7 stars twice, you know? They already promised that they wouldn't do that, so I think that they're finding other ways to do that, you know, and things like, you know, getting, you know, Darth Maul's lightsaber leveled up is one of those ways to add another layer of level of, like, a gear level or a tier of having to level up a character. Anyway, next question.
Yeah. Oh, DSP's asked us a couple times. I see you, DSP. I got you. He asked initially. Well, what is that? We'll do both of them together. Are there any new Sith Raid teams you guys have heard of, and where do you use the Padme team in the Sith Raid?
I mean,
crickets.
I know.
I can't really think of any new Sith Raid.
I mean, I'm trying to think.
Like,
I think phase 2 or phase. I don't know about phase 1. Phase 2, definitely, I think you can use Padme, but the Jedi Revan just does so much better. I haven't tested it out.
How are the Geonosians or the Separatist droids in the Sith Raid?
I have not tried them at all.
You really, I mean, there's really nowhere you can use the Geonosians, because P1, if you basic attack Malice, he just stacks ridiculous amount of protection. P2, you can't be doing all those attacks with Sign because he builds turn meter. P3, you're going to build those stacks of the Treyab thing up so high from that. Like, you really can't use them.
They'll kill themselves.
Yeah, like as a faction. So, I mean, it's tough. I don't know. Padme, I actually have most of the components of that team broken up into different teams. But you guys are probably on the same boat I am. Our Sith raids go down so quick, we don't really have time to be like experimenting. If you want top 10, you can't be in there experimenting. You got to use the same old trusties. There are some P3 kind of cheese teams. Wink on the Shattered Order podcast. You'll have to go back and check out the one from the previous Friday, I think 3 days ago or 2 days ago. He was talking about a Palpatine lead with some of the mix and match Sith components that he said was doing really, really well for him in P4. I don't know anything about that team, so you might go check out that their stream the other night. He went pretty in depth into that, but I mean, I haven't seen a Skeltrex video in a while. He's pretty much Skeltrex, McMole, and Bulldog were kind of my go-to raid guys, and they've all been pretty quiet raid video wise. So
yeah, I mean, I saw a comment here in the chat, talking about CG doesn't like theory crafting in Arena. I just wanted to add to that, actually, because, I kind of agree with that. I think that was kind of a thing originally. Like, when this game came out, like, you could put together teams with random characters. Like, you could put together Visa Smar and Qui-Gon Jinn and Poe Dameron, and you could find a way to win with teams like that. Like, you could find a way to, like, there were guys that put together, remember those counter teams, like the counterattack teams, like with Fives and Count Dooku and you had Imagundi lead, the Imagundi teams, like those things that, it was like people would put together.
Nobody knows the Imagundi teams. Nobody knows what those are.
but there were teams like that. I mean, you could put together the IG-88 team with the Geonosians, and you could make that work. And there were ways to theory craft interesting teams and putting together factions that didn't make any sense. And you were able to find a way to, just take the abilities and create a decent enough team that you could compete in the arena with them. Nowadays, that is absolutely impossible. Like, you cannot just take Rex and 4 other guys and win. You know what I'm saying? And that's,
they've made the leadership so faction specific now, and all the uniques and stuff. Like they've made the teams, the factions too synergistic. I mean, if you break them up, it's a shell of the team. Which, I mean, I guess is the same thing, but they do kind of force our hands in that. But the Separatists, though, they're a little different. I think the Separatist faction has a lot of options, a lot of cool leaderships. You see a lot of people use Nuke Gunray on their GG teams. I've seen some hybrid Nuke Gunray, Dooku, 3 Geonosians. I mean, there's some good teams that you can form out of these new Separatist batches, and hopefully we get the same. Or Padme, too. I mean, granted, you're going to use Padme, Ahsoka, GK, Anakin, but they're the options for your 5th right now are unlimited. I mean, there's so many good characters you can throw in there for different uses.
We'll say hi to B. Masu in the chat. B. Masu.
Hey, B. Masu. All right. Next question from RFJ1978TX. Hello. What do you think the next meta is? Also, thoughts on Gear 13 Sith Trooper.
Well, Gear 13 Sith Trooper sounds like a bad idea. Sounds like I'll pass on that. And reason for that being that there's just better options. I don't think Sith Trooper is really the best option for the Sith team. I think he's just the like one of the few options that people have available, so most people use it because they don't have like a Marauder, or they don't have Malik, or they don't have another option. So but I don't think that he's long term worth the investment to Gear 13. Maybe at some point, I'm not saying he's never to be Gear 13. I'm just saying right now there's probably other priorities that I would go for first. And I would spend those resources on other characters, many other characters before Sith Trooper. There's a huge benefit to Gear 13ing, General Grievous, putting a Gear 13 on Revan, Malik, Bastila Shan, Fallen. There's benefits to doing it to Jedi Revan. There's benefits to doing it to Yoda. There's benefits to doing it to a bunch of different characters. Gear 13, Brood Alpha, Geonosian Brood Alpha. There's other characters you're going to want to do first. I'd say Padme first. There's definitely other characters you'd want to Gear 13 before you do that to Sith Trooper. I mean, I don't think it's going to help your team that much that it's worth it. But what was the other question?
Basically what the next meta was going to be. If I had to predict the next meta, probably going to be something Galactic Republic related, something that comes with... And, in the question answer they did kind of spill the beans. In the Malik discussion, it's coming soon, but we can't tell you when. And then somebody else asked the question, I'm paraphrasing, is there going to be another Malik style event? And they said yes. And it takes them a while to build. So I'd imagine whatever character, if it's a character, it could be a ship, but if it is a character that's included in this next, they named it something ridiculous, so there's no confusion,
it'll be clones, and it'll be...
No. They changed the name of the encounter. It's Epic Encounter or something now.
It'll be
so we don't get confused.
It'll be clones, and it'll be Anakin Padawan.
Yeah. So
or Order 66 Anakin.
Well, I mean, if you're asking that because if you just got Revan or something, you're unsure if you need to level up. You definitely need to level up Sith Empire. They're going to be a dominant team for even when the meta changes. They're still going to be right in the mix. So just definitely.
Something like that, I think. I mean, I think Anakin will be key and probably make Padme a better leader, right? Because if you add a better supporting cast to Padme, I think she becomes meta.
Yeah, if we get like the fifth, like we don't. Everyone's been cycling in stuff. A lot of people use C-3PO, Shaak Ti. Some people use Barriss. All sorts of combinations with Padme. I think we will get a definite fifth for the team at some point, and that would probably challenge rival Darth Revan up in the meta report. Do we see the Mandalorian tunes, just from Rooster, do we see the Mandalorian tunes before episode 9 tunes?
Oh, that's an interesting question. Yeah, I think yes.
Could be.
I think yes. I think we'll get that. I mean, maybe they'll wait on I don't know like how many important characters there will be on the show, or if it'll be just the Mandalorian himself that we get. But I think at the very least we'll get something from it before episode 9. Probably maybe the character himself, like the Mandalorian. We'll just get him. Whatever his name is, we'll find out when the show drops, and we'll find out more information of it. But there's a lot of Disney streaming service Star Wars stuff down the pipe, that they're working on right now. I mean, there's a live action show that they're working on. They're doing a show about what's his name from Rogue One, Cassian.
Yeah,
they're doing a show. I think about. Aren't they doing a show about like adventures with Chewbacca and Han or something? I forget. They're doing a show. They're doing a show that's all I think they'll have a lot of stuff. I mean, obviously we're going to get the Clone Wars that's coming, the new season of Clone Wars, but there's going to be a lot of other stuff. They're probably going to drop do you think Resistance is coming back, or do you think Resistance is dead?
I don't know.
Yeah, hard to say.
I'm assuming that they'll probably try that again, or they'll have something similar, like a new cartoon, and maybe at some point, we'll get the conclusion of the whole Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra saga, with Ahsoka and Sabine, and we'll find out what happens there. I hope that they do either do a live action show about that, or just straight up a movie about it, or if they're not going to do it in some big form like that, then they make a show on the Disney streaming service that kind of wraps up what happened to Ezra after that incident with on the Chimera.
Well, they could do an animated kind of movie. They did an animated movie for the Clone Wars, did they not? Before the series,
yes.
Yeah, there was a separate movie. They could do something like that as well. Just kind of wrap it up, but.
There should be an explanation. I mean, because technically, Ezra's out there. He could still be alive in episode 9, for all we know. I mean, I don't think they're going to go that route. I think there's too much stuff. There's too many loose ends for them to tie up already in that story, that I don't think that they're going to introduce something out of left field like that. I mean, especially if they're already adding Palpatine, they're not going to also add Grand Admiral Thrawn and Ezra into the mix in that. So I mean, it'll probably be some other way that they release that information. Maybe it'll be a comic, maybe it'll be a cartoon, maybe it'll be some other future movie, or in some sort of an hour or 2 hour special, like you guys are saying. But I hope that they do explain that story, because that's one of the stories that I'm very intrigued to find out about. There's few stories right now in Star Wars that really intrigue me, and I'm looking to hear more about. That's one of them for sure. I want to know what happened there, and they kind of set it up for a really cool next season, or a next show. With the whole Sabine and Ahsoka going out to find Ezra and find out what happened. I mean, they could do another whole 3 or 4 year show just on that premise alone. And their adventures, and ultimately finding Ezra, and then having another conflict, after that could be Sith or Jedi related. I mean, they could do a lot of different things, plus, they could also do a huge time jump and then make it after the whole, the Battle of Endor, so, I mean, we'll see what they do, but, what happened?
Nothing. Oh, we got one more question. We can answer this quickly. Which Night Sister do I gear 12 first and second? What do you guys think on the Night Sisters? First two to gear 12.
To gear 12?
Yeah.
Or 13?
Well, gear 12. I'm assuming
Gear 12?
Blaze 83 here is a newer player, yeah, so he's working on getting to gear 12.
I always go tanks and leaders for teens first.
Yeah. Whatever your
So-
leader is and zombie.
Yeah.
Well, Zombie, it's very important to get her. What would you say? Gear 10, I think, is when that unique
Yeah.
unlocks.
Yeah, that's when the unique pops off.
Yeah,
But at 12 she becomes protection.
Just
is always-
worse.
yeah.
She becomes worse, which is a good thing. At least for you.
I think I did Asajj first. She was my first
Yeah.
Night 12.
Asajj, then, I don't want to say Spirit, because that's just, but I mean, Asajj.
It's hard not to say Spirit either.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's tough. If you got that DACA is good. Her health
yeah,
bonus higher.
I just took her at 13. She's
Yeah.
ridiculous.
I'm gonna go with Asajj and DACA. That'd be my answer.
You took old Daka to gear 13?
Absolutely, she's a
Yeah,
monster.
I did, yeah. She's awesome.
Where are you guys gear 13ing all these characters? I mean, like, I just
We spend our energy.
Yeah, but I spend my energy too. But I mean, to be honest with you, it's like 500 pieces for one gear 13. Where are you getting all these pieces from?
The Sith
Just
Raid.
hard farming.
Yeah,
I have 2 gear 13 characters. 2. Okay. You guys probably. How many do you have, Maurice?
16.
How do you have 16 gear 13 characters already? That doesn't make any sense unless you're buying, just straight up buying.
Yeah,
gear 13.
I spent a few of them Ulysses S. Grants
Okay.
past month or so.
That makes
So
sense. You guys-
they
you guys
contribute a little bit to it, but
You whales. Whale
No.
call.
no.
I haven't welled at all.
Yeah,
I haven't
participate,
either.
I'm just saying, gear 13 DACA, that's pretty obscure in my opinion. Obscure.
Oh.
Oh, I
not-
don't think
I
so.
was
I
very
think it was
hyper-focused.
very. To me, DACA was very specific.
Well, we've all played a long time. Like, you just put a character, favorite the next gear 13 character you have.
Don't get me
and
wrong. Like I could be
light side, dark side.
Don't get me wrong. I could easily just change focus and gear 13 a bunch of characters over the next few days if I really wanted to. But I'm saying
Let's
the point
get you
is
some mods before you worry about
But I
gear.
mean-
13.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
Mods are the most important thing still. I mean, you can have all the Gear 13 characters in the world, but if you don't have any speed mods over 10, it's not going to do you much good. So,
But I do 3 times 50 regular and ship energy every day, but I also farm like stun cuffs, like you saw a few minutes ago, stun guns. I gotta farm the Gear 13 salvage. I gotta farm those stupid pieces that they added for Malik and Revan, those other pieces, because you gotta have 100 of
Yeah.
those. And then and then you also gotta farm characters still. I still have hard node characters to farm. So
Well, it depends on how you. It's how you focus, man. I mean, like I just took right now. I just took B1 7 stars. He's gear 11.
Oh, I did.
which is-
I just took B1 to G13.
Yeah. So I mean,
Yeah.
I'm hyper focused. Like I'm hyper focused. I'm not working on anything else. Like I just got. I think I need 2 more gear pieces for Geo Soldier, who's like the pain in the ass to get to 16.5, and then all my characters will be 16.5. That was my first party, and I don't work on anything else. But at the same time, for like Gear 13, I take one character. I'm like, okay, you're in my next Gear 13, and then I'm, getting the shards for it. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's how you do it.
yeah. Well, Dr. Gonzo just said here he's got 7 without spending a dime. So it's definitely
Yeah, I think I'm like 6 or
Yeah.
7.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what
that's
I'm
good.
looking
That's
at.
solid.
Don't let
Yeah.
Dr. Gonzo fool you. Dr. Gonzo's a whale. Okay,
I know, but he's but
Dr. Gonzo's blowing water out of his hole. Okay, right now.
No, now you got him all defensive. I had 10,000 crystals saved before Gear 13 came out, and I'm broke now. But got first in both arenas every day.
yeah, that helps too. Once you get your teams
You're a
locked
whale.
in for arena,
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
I mean, if you get your crystal stuff going, I mean, typically what I do for the crowd techs for 15 is I farm them to 50 and then use 1,400 crystals to get the last 50, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to invest a huge amount. You just be patient with it, So next year.
I get it. If you're getting rank 1 in arena and rank 1 in ship arena every day, and you're buying refreshes every day, you're there, and I get it. You know what I'm saying? But it's expensive, I think.
Yeah, you could probably do one a week. I mean, the problem is, after so many weeks, you do start running out of the other stuff.
The Gear 12 Plus pieces,
yeah.
But I'm farming those with GAC and wherever I can, and then doing well in the Heroic Sith raid makes a big difference, because you get those pieces, so.
Just kidding, by the way, Dr. Godzo. I don't profess to know your financial situation.
Well, he's a doctor. Of course he's rich.
Yeah, that is true, yeah.
He's also a cast member of Sesame Street, so he's got it made.
Yeah.
Think of all the royalties there. Ooh, all the endorsement deals. Ooh.
I know, right?
That's double dipping right there, double bucks. All right, is that it? Are we gonna wrap it up here?
Yeah, that's the last point. That's the last one I've got here. So yeah.
All right, so guys, we're gonna go ahead and wrap up the stream. It's been a longie, but a goodie. A lot of interesting conversation here. There was one more thing I saw earlier. I can't find it. Anyway, we'll be back next week. So if you guys want to, come back and join us there, we'll be back next Sunday. And in the meantime, definitely make sure to check out good old Maurice and TMoney's live show on Tuesday night. On the Operation Metaverse channel. The link is in the description of this live show, so definitely make sure to click on that and check out their show on Tuesday night, and make sure to check out Ranger's show on Wednesday night on the Reality Skewed Gamers channel. That is also linked in the description. And Abby, do you guys have another episode of that show coming up that you guys are doing, or the podcast?
We just shot our second podcast yesterday.
Okay, so
actually, we're splitting it up into episode 2 and 3 because it went really long.
All right, so Abby has a channel where they're doing podcasts now as well. I think they'll probably be doing them more frequently. So eventually, I will make sure to link that in the description as well, so you can check those out. In the meantime, if you want to go ahead and tell people how to search it.
Oh, just look for our YouTube channel, Boba's Alliance.
Go to Boba's Alliance YouTube channel and check it out. But yeah, definitely appreciate everybody hanging out tonight. It was a great time. Look forward to getting bashed about my mods next weekend. So we'll get. I'll make sure to.
I'm sure the plate's going around. People.
Yep. But listen, guys. May the force be with you, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Everybody else, have a good night, and we'll see you next week. Thanks.